Mama, have you ever felt the nudge to take a leap, but your own imposter syndrome is holding you back? Today, I sat down with Lindsey Hart and we had an incredible conversation about taking big leaps of faith and making intentional decisions to create a life that you love. So if you have been waiting on you, this one's for you. Hey, mamas, welcome back to Mamas Building Businesses. I am really excited about the conversation tonight. I have Lindsey Hart joining me, and Lindsey is an incredible photographer. She has been in business for a little over 10 years,
Yep.
and really excited to have you here, Lindsey. Thanks so much for being here.
Of course, yeah, I'm excited to be here and have a chat. It's gonna be great.
It's going to be amazing. So tell for somebody who has never met Lindsey before,
Yeah.
who are you?
Whew. Wow, how much time do we have? So, well, I'm born and raised in Berks County, so I'm pretty rooted here. And live in Shillington with my husband of 15 years, Mike, and my our son Jacob. He's 10. Family is really important to me. I'm a Disney person, so love Disney and all that comes with it. And I love so I always tell people this too, that like I'm excited to go do things like with friends. Like if we have something on the calendar, I'm excited, I'm pumped, I'm ready to go. But if we don't have anything on the calendar, like I'm at home, just chilling and like so boring. So it's kind of like a little mix of both. I tell people I'm like you can come over, but I'll just be hanging out at home. But yeah, so I love a good coffee. Always had a camera in hand, but it took me just kind of a roundabout way to get to where I'm at today.
Well, so I was laughing so much when you said about the calendar thing because just the other day I posted on Facebook, I said, I'm at the age where if it's not on my calendar, it's not happening.
Oh, 1,000%.
Because it's like, I'm very like, I like going out, I like being social, but the
Mhm.
older I get, the more I don't like unexpected things. I like to kind of mentally prepare and plan for stuff.
Yeah.
And I enjoy spending time alone at home. So like if
Yeah.
I'm not quite as spontaneous as I used to be. So that made me laugh.
Yeah. And well,
So
and our son's 10, so like he goes to bed at like around 8:30. So like that's our t like that's usually when he goes to bed, like my husband and I will watch a movie or a show or play a game or we'll do something together. That's kind of our like together time where we're just kind of at home after all the day's activities are done and had dinner, went to karate, we're home, we're ready to relax. So, yeah.
yeah, like that, like, okay, I just little reset and relaxation. So let's talk a little bit about your business because you really started your business because of your son. Like you always had a
Hmm.
camera in hand, but you said it took you a little roundabout, right, to
Yeah.
be like, okay, I'm going to be a photographer. I'm going to start this business. So let's talk about that a little bit, like the beginning. What made you make a decision to start a business?
Yeah.
And the roundabout, how did you come around to like the conclusion of, okay, this is it and I'm doing it?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, again, always had a camera in hand, like on field trips and at school and for theater production. Like I just had it with me all the time. Love taking pictures, love doing the whole thing. Um, and then throughout school, in my day, I'm almost 40. I'll be 40 this March. But we were taught like you go to school, you get good grades, you get a job, and there's your life. There it is. So
And that's it.
I didn't
That's all
quite
there is.
know, like, oh, I love photography. I wonder if I could do that. Like, it wasn't just, that wasn't a path that was, very popular to be an entrepreneur or build a business. Like, I just didn't know how to do that. So, I loved animals. I still love animals. I went to school for science. So, I went to Penn State Berks. Loved it there, had a great college experience there. And then after I graduated with a science degree, I was vet teching for a good 5 or 6 years. And I loved what I did. I loved that too. Um, but I knew it was something that I didn't want to do forever. It can be fun, fun profession, a challenging profession. It can also be an emotionally taxing profession too. So it was just something I loved, but I didn't want to do it forever. And then it came time that my husband and I, we had gotten married towards the tail end of college. So, um, you know, this time it's like 5 or 6 years down the road, we wanted to start a family. So, but we wanted, both of us had talked about me taking a step back from work and staying home a little bit more, at least, especially while he was so little. And so we just talked about it and prayed about it and said, okay, well, what does that look like? Um, and thankfully he was wasn't is super supportive of, he's like, well, why don't we why don't you try to build your business? And I was like, cool. I will brainstorm of how to start doing that. I had no idea, but we're like, let's give it a shot. So it was kind of just a big leap of faith. And at the time, I was also doing some social media managing for my friend who owned a spa locally too. So that I was kind of doing that part time and building my business and building a portfolio, having friends, do sessions for me, and just building that up. I was shadowing other photographers and, getting mentored by them and taking some of them out to lunch and saying, how did you get started? What worked for you? What did you hate? What do you love? I was just asking them a ton of questions, um, because everybody has different perspectives on everything. So yeah, so thankful. So Jacob was actually my first newborn session. He was my first newborn model. I did his session when he was about a week and a half old, when he was born, and it kind of just took off from there. I It took a few years to get some momentum behind everything, but once I got it going, it just kind of took off, and I'm so thankful for where it is now.
That's incredible. So, when you and your husband were looking at like what that looked like,
Hmm.
was it like you took the leap of faith and you ran? I mean, obviously you did do that, but
Hmm.
just from like a planning perspective. So I
Yeah.
recently talked to some moms who I would say are very different than all the other moms I've talked to in this sense, in an incredible way, in the sense that most moms I talk to, they've been in business for a bit, right? They have
Mm-hmm.
experience. And recently I spoke with like two different moms, interviewed them on the channel that they're in the process of starting their first business. And
Mm-hmm.
they had reached out to me and said, "Hey, I don't have a business yet, but I would love to talk to you when."
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I would love to talk to you when you're in the thick of it.
Right.
I would love
Yeah.
to. And then like maybe we can do where are they now kind of like a
Yeah.
follow up later.
Yeah.
But because it's so scary when you start. It's
Mm-hmm.
incredibly scary. It's like, how much money do I need to make to survive? How much money do
Right.
I need to make for this to work? We're our own worst enemy. So a lot of
Yeah.
times, like you and I, when we first met, we spoke a little bit about like imposter syndrome and like,
Mm-hmm.
am I capable? Like, yeah, I want to. This is great in theory, but like,
Yeah.
can I do it? And
Mhm.
I think that with talking to so many moms, the thing I see the most is that just most of us underestimate ourselves, right?
Yeah.
And then as we
Yeah.
build businesses, we're just constantly like, oh wow, I can do this. I can do this. You know? So
Yeah.
so for you, like what did that look like? Did you and your husband, was it based on like, okay, we have this much time for
Mm-hmm.
this amount of money to come in, or we have to look for another option? Like what did that like in practical application,
Yeah.
that planning period look like for you in the beginning?
Yeah. So, well, we just kind of sat down and said, okay, what does this look like? What do we So I was working part-time at doing this social media managing. So that was kind of helping things along. And even then, like, if my husband back then, if he had the job he has now, we it wouldn't have even been a question. We could, because he has a good job now, a little bit better than what he had a couple, decade ago, just a different job, but he works in IT, so back then, thankfully, and we also had some things in our corner that were big blessings. So we had both of our families. So when we said, "Hey, we're gonna have our son," My mom was able to watch him 2 days, and his mom, my husband's mom, my mother-in-law, was able to watch him the other day that I needed, the other days I was home. So thankfully, the childcare portion was not a worry. We did not have to worry about that portion. That was a huge blessing and a gift that we had family who were both willing and able to help us out in that way. So that was a big thing. And so next was just like life in general. So we're like, okay, so we budget, we're working hard, we're trying to make good financial decisions, we're praying about lots of stuff, and we're like, okay, well, we're gonna take a big leap of faith and we're gonna try it out, and then we're just gonna pray that God's got us and he's going to provide. Um, and that's kind of how we live our life. We trust in God. We know he's going to provide and give us, and thankfully we have a lot more times, more than what we need. We have what we need, but a lot of times, lots of blessings all around, but lots of prayer, lots of just going for it. And that's something I don't know if years ago I would have done. I would have been like, oh, I don't know, it's a little risky. But I was just like, you know what? If I don't do this, I am going to regret not trying it, not giving it a shot, not just seeing what happened. And we knew that over the first couple years, we kind of noticed that okay, so there's a slow season, and then there's like a really fast, busy season. Then it slows down a little bit, and then it's really busy. So we kind of got used to that, knowing how to help us budget better because we knew when the seasons were coming that like, oh, well, it's winter, so obviously I'm not as busy right now, but then as soon as the weather breaks in the spring, I'll be outside doing sessions. So, and then it's going to be wedding season, and then, so we kind of got used to, tracking a little bit of the metrics and the analytics and that kind of stuff to see where it was going. Um, yeah, but again, lots of prayer, lots of just kind of trying new things and working together and just being so thankful that our families could help us out when he was super duper little. Yeah,
That's incredible that you never had to put him in childcare. I mean, seriously, what a blessing.
yeah. And
So,
that, and oh, I'm sorry, and sorry to
no, go
interrupt
ahead, go
you.
ahead.
But another thing I forgot to add was, that was a personal choice too. Like, and I see moms who are out there working full-time jobs, and I'm like, I don't know how they are doing it. I just don't know. Because I'm at home most of the time and I'm still busy. I mean, I'm running errands, I'm doing sessions, I'm, drop Jake off at school, I go to the gym, I come home, I start editing, I do my stuff, pick him up. I'm still running around, but it's a lot. So it was a choice for me to kind of step back from working full time and we wanted to devote that time to family time. And yeah, it's definitely a balance, and it's definitely we said in the beginning, we said no to a lot, and we said, we're gonna stay at home, or we're not gonna do this, but it was so worth it because I don't think I've ever regretted a day or a choice that I've made when it comes to staying home.
Well, I love that you brought up that it was a choice because I really believe, like, truly, truly believe in my heart, which is why, like, how Mama's Building Businesses came to be,
Mm-hmm.
that moms don't have to trade their passion or
Mm-hmm.
finances or what they want to do or what they want to accomplish. I don't think that time with our kids have to be the trade there.
Right.
And unfortunately, the society we live in makes us feel that it is. And
Yeah.
listen, there's seasons. I'm not here to make it sound like it's always easy. I'm not here to make it sound like you're always going to have money and you're always going to have time because
Oh
I think
yeah.
months looks different in every season. It's not always 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
But I do believe that God gave us the ability to be intentional with how and where we invest our time
Right.
and to align it with the life that we really want. And
Right.
from my perspective, in my businesses that I've owned, I really made a lot of decisions without pausing and checking in about what I really
Mm.
wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And so, was it cool that I had a business that everybody thought was successful and that provided a good life for us? And
Yeah.
technically, I controlled my time, but on the inside, it was, I don't want to say it was horrible. It's not like I hated what I did or anything, but I had put myself under so much pressure.
Right.
Right? Because I
Yeah.
wasn't checking in, like, what do I really want? Like, do I want more money or do I want more time with my kids?
Right.
I wasn't doing that. I was kind of
Yeah.
like in a survival. And truthfully, some of that comes from, I mean, you're so blessed that you have such a supportive husband.
Yeah.
I was a single mom. And so the financial piece really scared me, right? And so
Right.
I made a lot of decisions out of fear and out of scarcity and out of survival.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but now I know better.
Yeah. Well, and I
That's
tell
really all
people
that
too.
matters.
I tell people too that, if he wasn't I couldn't do this if he was not like working and
Right.
had a full-time job. You know what I mean? It would look a lot different. I maybe would try to still do it and make it work, but it it works for us. It's working for us, and we're kind of and he mostly works from home too, which is an amazing thing also because usually he's at home, so I can go out and do sessions and he's home for, I bring home Jake from school or on the weekends, especially there's like lots of weddings on the weekends. So he's home, so he's here and available that I can go out and do, the stuff that I'm usually doing on the weekends. So I do tell people that I'm like, I could not do what I'm doing the way I'm doing it, without his support too. I mean,
Yeah.
we've tried to do this as a team, even though it's my business, it is our thing that we're doing together, in many ways. Um, but yeah, yeah, I hate when I see friends or I hear of people who are like, man, I really wish I could do this, but I just can't give up, this or that, or, they feel like they can't escape. Um, and it's like, it's so easy in today's society to get like sucked into the materialism and um, the all of that, and the social media has not helped. And there's a joy in finding contentment in the simple things and the simple joys. And trust me, there are days where it's very challenging and it's hard because I see something and I'm like, "Ooh, that's so cool," and blah blah blah. But then I'm like, "You know what? I really don't need that because I have what I need. I'm good. We have these things we're working towards, it's
But that's exactly it, right? Because I like there are times where we have to make sacrifices, whether
Mhm.
it's material, whether it is time with our kids because we're in a season of building our business.
Right.
But I think for me, it's what I really want to encourage any mama who's listening is take the time to check in with yourself
Mm-hmm.
because I got caught up in the like making decisions that just felt like they were the next natural decision, but I didn't actually check in and see if it was what I wanted. And then I got to a place where I'm like, I don't want any
Mm-hmm.
of this, you know?
Well,
So
and
it's
it's
priorities.
extra hard. It's extra hard if you're a people pleaser and you have a hard time saying no to things like me.
And
But
no is a complete sentence, lady.
right. I'm learning, and honestly, I'm at a point now, like a decade in, that I'm like, you know what? I don't think I can do that. And that's okay. Like it's all right. There are some things where I'm now able to choose doing this thing instead of thinking, well, I really should do that. It's becoming easier to feel like that choice is totally okay. And but it took a while to get there.
Well, and you know what? I think as women and especially as moms, that that piece is more difficult for us because we are so selfish,
Mm,
not selfish, selfless,
less. Yeah.
and we are naturally nurturers. So like we want to be everything to everybody. We want to help.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like we want to be able to say yes and we want to give and give and give, but we really again, the checking in with yourself. Like if it's not, I heard this recently, like if it's not a heck yes, it's a heck no, which is really hard to,
Yeah.
that sounds great, but sometimes it's hard to learn that, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
and actually practice it.
Well, and two, and it's like so for so long, I also see my business as partly a ministry even, and I call it that because it's like, yes, on the one side, I do need to like make a living. Like that, I charge money for things and it's a business. That's what I do. There's the business side of it. But on the other side of it, it's just like I'm able, I found something that I can do that creates genuine emotion in people that I can bless them with and that they can treasure that. And that is super fulfilling. And I'm just happy that people pay me real money for what I do. I would do it for nothing. Now, like I said, I do have to make a living. However, I love what I do so much that like I would do it. And I want to do that. I wish I could just like do so much more, but
Hmm.
there's only so much time and there's only, you know what I mean? It's like, but I love it so much. I love that I can help people and bless people in that way by giving them something that they can treasure. Um, and I love it. And it's just so it's a wonderful feeling to be able to make that choice now of, you know what? This year maybe I'll be able to do more, events so I photograph Mercy Ministries their banquet every year and Wine Women and Shoes their fundraising event each year, and so there's multiple community events that I'll just go and photograph, and I love to do that, and I'm able to, and I'm so thankful that I'm able to do that. And I just hope that I can continue to do that more often, and I can say yes to more of those things instead of saying yes to things that I feel like I have to say yes to.
Yeah, well, and I think the important part of what you said is, we're all in business to make money. We need money to survive. It's a
Right.
tool,
Mm-hmm.
but for you, the impact is bigger than the profit. It's more important. And it shows. Like, you and I have not been connected on social media for a super long time. I think maybe
Yeah.
it's been like a month or two.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, coming across your page and your post, it shows how much you love what you do.
Thank you.
And I just think that that is really, really inspiring.
Yeah.
And
Thank
yeah,
you.
it's really inspiring. So I am wondering though, because business goes through so many different seasons,
Mm-hmm.
how has your business changed over the last decade with your son growing up?
Yeah.
Like, what has that, what are the
Yeah.
big shifts you noticed at different times in
Yeah.
raising him?
Yeah, so it was a little tougher when he was a little smaller. It really, I think, up until he started like full day school, it was a real like juggling, balancing act of time and oh, I don't have, it's like I'd be looking at like my working on my availability for like the next 2 months or 3 months, and I'd be like, well, this is it. So if you want to book, hopefully this is works out for you, you know. So, but it wasn't until he started school more, or full day school, that I had a lot more time, to give and to do to and to edit during the day and to do a lot of that. So just the addition of more hours of the day, that was kind of a gift. Um, Also, when he was younger, he was perfectly happy to model for me, and I did lots of theme things with him, and he'd be always on my page. And then there's my husband, and he works in IT, and he's like, "Don't post pictures of him on the internets." And I'm like, "Yeah, but people love to see him, so I have to do it." It's a really it's so tough. Um, but now that he's older, now he still likes to do pictures for me, but now I have to do a little want some ice cream, a little bribe here and
A
there.
little bribe here and
Um,
there.
you know, but just but it's been cool to see him react also too. So now that he's in school, he's been this is last year in elementary school, he's in fourth grade. And so if I have time, I go and photograph their like assemblies and like special events and like field day and like Earth Day, and whenever they have special things, I'll go photograph the events for the school and give them the pictures, and then they can use them for like the yearbook or whatever they want to use them for. Um, And so I've gotten to know like, his classmates and the kids and it's fun and like it's adorable because he'll be like, "That's my mom and she's a really good photographer." And like it's cool to see him and be proud of me and like think that what I'm doing is cool. And it's a nice feeling to see that he recognizes that and he thinks what I'm doing is really neat. So we got him a camera this year for Christmas, so hopefully we'll see what he does with it. But he likes to kind of follow me around and take some pictures too, so it's fun. But
That's so cool. So I love that he's proud of you. Like it's just so cool to me, and I love that like the lessons our kids get to learn
mm,
because we're in business. And one of the things that I feel like I always end up bringing up because it's been my experience is having your own business stretches you a lot as a person.
mm,
I feel like your business is like a mirror. Like whatever
mm-hmm,
you're doing great, you're going to see it. Whatever you're not doing great, you're going to see it, right? And it's
mm-hmm.
going to kind of show itself within your business. How do you feel that like those experiences and like being stretched and, kind of facing yourself and becoming better, how has that affected the way you parent?
Yeah. So in a different conversation we had, we talked a lot about imposter syndrome, right?
Hmm.
So there's like a bunch of photographers. Okay, we're out there. There's a whole lot of us out there. Okay, there's a whole lot of amazing, talented, amazing photographers, and I can name a whole ton of them. I won't now, but like there's and thankfully the community is so it's like community over competition because there's just as many there's people out there, so many people. So like it's lovely that we can work together and we can collaborate on a lot of events together and we refer people to each other. There's a group that we have on Facebook, so if somebody asks me about a wedding and I can't do it because I'm already booked, I'll put it on the group and I'll say, "Hey, I have this bride and this is her wedding and here's her stuff and here's her information." And I'll refer to her to people, and sometimes people refer me to other people, which is amazing, and I love that. I really appreciate when people do that for me. But I feel like it's stretched me in so many ways because I'm 10 years into this and I'm still handing off a session like, "Here, I hope you like this. Here, I worked really hard and I hope you like them." You know, and they do usually, people will say, "Oh, I love these pictures. Oh, she did it again. I love them." Or, and they'll say that to me, or they'll, leave a review and they're so kind. And but I still am here like, "Here, I hope you like these." I'm proud of them. I'm proud of my work. I'm proud of the, photographs that I take and the images that I create, but I'm still like, man, I really hope that they love them so much. And that hope is in my heart every single time I hand off a session. And so I'm always trying to um, be better than the last one and fine tune things more and say, how else can I make this, something that they're gonna love. But yeah, the imposter syndrome, man. There's so many of us, and there's so many. Social media is not helping. So that doesn't help when you see all these ideas and things and goals and stuff, and it's like, man, I'm just here trying to make it through today. I got lots to do and there's only so many hours. And but over the past decade as I've been building this, it's like when I take a look at the bigger picture, I have accomplished things that before I even started this business, I would never have dreamed I would do. On multiple occasions. There's many things that I've accomplished, many goals that I've accomplished that I had never even dreamed that I would accomplish. And I have. And so now I'm like, well, it's only up from here, I guess. Let's try to make it even better. So just looking back on the big picture, even in times where I was just like, "Oh man, this month is so busy. I got 4 weddings and I'm up late, at night editing and I'm tired." And but when I look back on it, it's like, no, but that season might have been one of my best seasons. It was super busy, but it might have been the best. And when I look back on it, I'm like, man, I have done some things that I just never thought I would even get to do. So it's a gift, and it's worth it to do hard things. It's worth it to um, be it's worth it to struggle in those seasons when you're like really muddling through it. It's worth it to get out on the other side and say, "Man, I'm actually really proud of myself and I did that. That I
Well,
did that hard thing."
and you know what? I think that because you and I think it was one of our first conversations, we did talk about imposter syndrome a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the reason why is because our experience first getting into business was similar from the sense of like you always loved photography, but it never really occurred to you that this could be like a career path, right?
Right.
And
Right.
my
Yeah.
experience was very, very similar. Like I literally have binders in my parents' basement of like stuff that I designed and drew, like creative things when I was
Yeah.
younger.
That's cool.
And growing up, because I enjoyed the creative so much, it just never occurred to me that it could be a job. Like,
Right.
and God bless my family. I love them so much and they're such hard workers, but I was kind of raised in this like work culture of like, well, if you don't hate your job, you're not working hard enough. Like, right?
Hmm.
Like that you don't enjoy
Yeah.
what you do, basically, is
Yes.
like was
It's
what I
it should be work,
right.
hard work. Yeah.
Right. And so it just had never occurred to me. Like I never thought like, oh, I love doing creative things. Maybe I could go into design or branding or marketing, or those things.
Hmm.
And now I worked in marketing, but from the standpoint of strategy, very, very corporate, right?
Right.
Where my real passion was in design, like in
Right.
creativity. And so when I finally leaned into that, and I wouldn't even say I leaned into it truthfully. I had a somebody I knew who became a very, very good friend who I feel like was a catalyst and just kind of really pushed me in that way.
Hmm.
But I got to a place where I looked around. I will never forget this. I designed a logo. So my last corporate job, I worked as a marketing director for these two business guys who owned a bunch of businesses in
Hmm.
Philadelphia and Jersey.
Cool.
And when I left, they ended up coming on as my client, but they
Okay.
started leaning more into giving me more of the design, like letting me do more
Hmm.
of the design and stuff.
Yeah.
So I had created a logo for them, and it wasn't necessarily like one of my first logos, but for like a big real business. Like
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
had been doing stuff like on Etsy, like
Hmm.
mamas would hire me to do for like their handmade business, but for like a brick and mortar, like big
Yeah.
business. And I will never forget the first time I went up Roosevelt Boulevard in Philadelphia because one of their businesses is right on the main drag, and my
Hmm.
logo was on like one of the
The sign.
tall,
Yeah, like the
yeah,
big, yeah.
yeah, and it was like, I mean, it brought tears to my eyes. Like to
Yeah.
see it in reality, like I knew I had made it, like I knew it looked good, I knew they loved it, but
Right.
to see it in reality and then you go in and it's like all over. So one of their the business I'm talking about specifically was like a roller skating rink and a family
Okay.
entertainment center. So
Yeah.
then I go in, they had an airbrush artist come in and put it on the wall of the skate
Oh, that's
floor. And
cool.
then all the carpet in the arcade area
Oh,
had the
that's
logo
neat.
all over it. And I was like, I did that. Like
Yeah, that's
it
so
made me so
cool.
emotional.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just, and I
It,
think that's
yeah.
why because we both had similar experiences like that. And I agree
Yeah.
with you 100%. Like if you feel passionate about something or you really enjoy something, lean into it and make sure once
Yeah.
you start doing it, you look back and celebrate
Yeah.
what you created.
Yeah, I have two things that are like rolling around in my brain.
Yeah.
The one I had a moment like that too. So in 20, so, okay, so my best friend of 20 years this year, her name is Emily, and we complement each other very well. So like I if I'm not doing something or out of a house, I'm in gym clothes with a hat on, just chilling. That's just me. I'm relaxing. My best friend, Emily, she does pageants. She's an author. She does many things. She wears many hats. She works at an amazing jewelry store. It's Gilded Design Studio. It's wonderful. Um, but she's a walking sequin. That's how I describe her to people. She looks like a Barbie. She looks like Elsa. She does Elsa things. Anyway, she's amazing. She does so many things. Well, she models. So I took a headshot for her for a pageant that was happening a couple years ago, and the one day she said, "Oh, I submitted it, and it might be on a billboard in New York City. We'll have to see." And I was like,
Oh, cool.
"That would be super cool." So months go by, life goes on, months go by, we hear nothing. And she goes to, so then one day she calls me and she says, "Hey, I have something exciting to tell you." And she goes, "Your picture is going to be on a billboard." And I was like, "What?" And she said, "Yeah, in New York City." And I said, you've got to be kidding me." And she goes, "No, I got the email from like my pageant lady today. It's going to be up on the billboard in above the Macy's in Times Square this week in June or whatever. I forget what the exact date was, but in June." And I was like, "What?" I just couldn't even believe the words that were coming out of her mouth. So I said, "Well, we have to go see this, like with our eyeballs, like our real eyeballs, that's if it's really happening." So we took the train the one day to New York City, and we waited on the corner, and we just stood there and watched as the billboard, they have it's like the digital one where it just kind of goes in
Hmm.
different ads. So we just stood there on the corner across the street looking at it, and then all of a sudden there it was. And I was like, "There it is, there it is." And I'm like, "That's your face." And she's like, "That's your picture. You took that picture." And I'm like, "Yeah, but it's your face." Like we were freaking out on the corner, on the opposite corner. And we're just like, so we took a selfie with it. Like it was like, but I'm like, it was the coolest thing. And I'm like, I don't even know if I'll ever have an experience like that ever again in my life. It was
Hmm.
so exhilarating and so amazing. And it's because I took a picture of her for her headshot for her pageant.
And you
I'm
took a
like,
chance on yourself,
yeah,
right?
but like,
Like,
yeah, and then
how cool is
she
that?
submitted it, and so big thanks to her for submitting it. But like, it was amazing, and it was just such a cool thing, especially to share in that together. So since she does pageants and events and things in the community, we've gotten to work together on so many different occasions. It's awesome. Like we're
How cool
basically
is that?
business partners at this point, but it's been so much fun over the years to be able to share in those moments with her when we do stuff like that together. It's amazing. Um, Oh, and then to come back to just like not even just knowing how to make what we love to do a business.
Mhm.
So and we've alluded to it before. Like yes, we need to make money, we need to make a living, it has to happen. Yes, I get it. And that is a truth of life. However, that was one of the biggest questions. I was like, is this going to make money? Can this sustain us? Can this actually provide a comfortable living for our family? Like this is what does this look like? Um, and the fact of the matter is, over the past decade, like I would make the sacrifices we've made over and over and over and over again because I would much rather make certain sacrifices and make a little less money and be absolutely loving what I'm doing and loving getting to spend more time with my family versus making a whole ton of money at this job that I don't really love. And maybe I'm just like stuck, or I've had to do lots of things that I'm not a fan of, and it's just like comfortable. And I don't know, all that. I mean, and there's nothing against that if you've been at a job for a very long time and it's just kind of like that. But if there is something you love, it is worth figuring out how to make it happen. And there's so many, and I mean, there's so many things today in today's society. I mean, I've been amazed at some things that I've been seeing people doing, and they make money. They make probably a ton more than me doing it, because they've found a niche thing and they love it and they do it and it's great. But it's just, I think that's one of the things I can't express enough is that if you love something and it's truly your passion, there's a way to make it, a bigger part of your life. It just might take some figuring out.
And it's your passion for a reason.
Yeah.
So, like, you have attributed a lot to, praying on things. And I shared with you, I'm a believer too. And I
Hmm.
really believe that if God gives you, He created you with this passion, this fire, like you're good at this, like you carried a camera around forever. I always
Yeah.
joke now that I have a YouTube channel, I always joke and say they used to mark off on my report card all the time how much I talk in class. Well, I was supposed to.
Right. Right.
But
Yeah.
but seriously, if you have something that is on your heart, something you love, something you're passionate about, something that you are good at, it was put in you for a reason. And
Hmm.
I really believe that to my core now more than ever.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah. One of
Gosh,
my,
it like gives me chills, like hearing
yeah.
your story about Times Square and
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be big, huge things. It's just that we have these moments where we recognize, like,
Hmm.
how cool is it that we do something we enjoy? I had that feeling again so when I started really leaning into design,
Hmm.
I I started designing sports uniforms for high schools
Oh,
and
cool.
colleges. So,
Okay.
um, mostly football, but I did some other stuff too.
That sounds so fun.
And I'll tell you what, designing something on a screen and then feeling the garment in your hand and seeing it, or seeing kids running on the field and they're wearing what you design. It's
Hmm.
so cool to see what you create come into fruition. And I think for women too, specifically, like we are the ones who have children. Like we were literally designed to create stuff. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? So like when you see the client and their face lights up because you have created, yes, they're in the pictures, but you have taken that and you've been able to give them something physical that evokes that emotion,
Hmm.
right? It
Yeah.
is it's incredibly powerful. It's incredibly, incredibly fulfilling. And I just I don't
Yeah.
know why. I'm going to ask you, why
Yeah.
do you think that we as women have such a hard time believing in ourselves?
Yeah. I think,
And I'll tell you why I'm asking that specifically, because I
yeah.
don't love to do a lot of like women are this way and men are this, doing that. But I saw a statistic recently that said, and I might get the numbers wrong, okay, but it was a roundabouts of this,
Hmm.
that women typically, if they are like 100% qualified to do a job, so say they see a
Hmm.
job application,
Hmm.
um, they likely will underestimate their ability and not apply unless they are way overqualified.
Right.
Where men, if they feel, I think it was like they are like 60% qualified for the job, they go after it.
Hmm.
And so it's like proven in statistics that women, we question ourselves a
Yeah.
lot more. So I'm just
Oh, yeah.
curious why you think that is.
Yeah. I think our brains are just, they're obviously created very differently. I know that. So just to give you a little bit of a perspective, like for me, I was just like, well, what do I love and what do I want to do? How can I make money with that? What does that look like? Okay, I love this. How can I make this work? Like that's, in the past decade, like that's where my brain was at. My husband, he's a great man. He's a great supporter. He's a great husband, father. He like, of course some days he's very frustrating, but mostly he's wonderful, right?
As they
But
are, good
as
and
they
bad.
are.
Mhm.
But his philosophy on a job, before he got this job that he has now that's really good, um, um, he was working at another job that he also really loved, but the pay wasn't great. And before that, he had a job, and I said, "Well, what do you really want to?" Before he like landed in IT, like that's where he's at now. I said, "What do you want to do?" And his answer was, "I will do whatever supports our family, even if I don't like it." Period. Like that was what he did. So he had a couple jobs where he did not enjoy himself. And it was challenging. And it was, but he was working and he was supporting our family. And that was what was available at the time. And, he was good at it, but he didn't love it. That wasn't his passion. It wasn't what he wanted to do, but he was doing it because he was supporting our family. So like what he wanted to do didn't even enter his brain, right? It was like, no, I need to support my family. I'm figuring it out. I'm
Well,
great.
I do think men are created like innately to be protectors and providers, right?
Yeah. So
And
that's
so
where his
that
brain
sort
was
of like emotion of like what you like and
at.
what you don't like goes out the window.
Yeah.
Where we really have that.
Yeah.
But I think some of that, like,
But yeah, so on the sorry, let me so I
no,
was
go
gonna
ahead, go
finish. But
ahead.
so then on the flip side, I'm like, so what do I love and what do I want to do and how does them, you know, there's the emotion coming in, right? And saying, well, what do I want to do? What do I like? And how can I make that still support our family? Like it's not that I don't want to support our family. I do. I just want to love what I'm
It's
doing.
just the perspective,
I
like
want to enjoy
starting with a
it.
different piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also I think to what you were saying earlier, where they might not even go out for it if they don't think they're good. It's just the like it's the comparison and I think it's all the different like voices that are out there. It's like women, it's like if you stay at home and you're a homemaker and you're supporting your home and your family and you're working at home, that's a whole full-time job right there. Many full-time jobs is that being at home because guess what? It's a lot. Also, on the flip side of that is women who work full time, and then they also have to come home and do all the home stuff, right? Everything is it's just a lot. So it's one side over here where well, I'm at home and I'm taking care of the house and the family, but I don't really make a lot of money because it doesn't make a lot of money. Or maybe you are making a lot of money, but then like you're still having to go home and like maybe you have a little help taking care of the house or you're not that it's you're juggling stuff there. So it's like we've come to this area where like, well, how do we win? How can
Hmm.
we win at this? On both sides, it doesn't look like we can win. So we just do our best and try it out. So I think that's a big part of it where you have all these voices saying, well, you should do this, you should do this, you should do this. And it's like, yeah, but I should be able to decide that. And I should be able to make it happen and take a chance on and then I'll say I'm a lot more confident than I used to be a decade and a half ago. I mean, being in this business has definitely helped with that. But I mean, I think I'm a pretty intelligent woman. At the same time, I do not have a job where I'm in a lab or using my brain, a lot. I'm using the creative side of it, but like, you know what I mean? It's a different kind of work. And I feel like if you have that creative side, it's just as important as the other side. It's just finding a different way to use it.
Hmm.
And I feel like a lot of times, um, again, taking that leap of faith is important. You won't regret it. I mean, hey, you know what? Sometimes I've tried a whole bunch of stuff. It didn't work out. And I said, well, that was fun. Didn't really work out. I guess I'm not going to try it again. I'll try something different next time. But at least I tried it and I figured out that there must be a better way. And I figured that out too. So taking that leap of faith is so, so important. And it might be tough the first couple of times you crash and burn and say, well, that didn't work out, but I can just try this thing next time. And it's important to do that because the more and more and more you do it, the more and more you'll believe in yourself and you'll say, I can do this. Like I said, I've accomplished goals that I never thought were even possible. And I look back at it and I'm like, I can't even believe I did all those things. And it's
Hmm.
amazing. And I'm like, who is this person over here? But it's
Well,
me.
isn't it amazing what happens when you like force yourself to stop overthinking and you just take action? Like, not only does
Yep.
that in and of itself build confidence, because I'm a big believer that action builds confidence.
Yeah.
It's not about waiting till you're ready. It's about doing. So that builds confidence, but it also allows you to move forward. We've
Yeah.
heard all of the, I'll say like kind of cliche things like fail forward and
Yeah.
all those things.
Yeah.
But the reality is if you sit and you overthink something, or you take a step and then fail, you're still ahead because now your action is from experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for some reason, because I've been stuck in this place many, many times where I'm stuck in the overthinking and I'm like, well,
Mm-hmm.
what if this happens? What if that happens? What if da da
Oh
da da da
yeah.
da da da? But
That's a tough
I
circle.
don't have any experience. I don't have any, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Being stuck in that place, I don't have anything that's going to get me closer to the right decision.
Right. And you know what? It's one of the I would say this, no matter what I mean, it's great for photography, but no matter what kind of business, mamas want to be in or start or create, one of the most important things I can say is make connections with people and get yourself out there and do networking things. Like I'm a decade into this and I'm doing a networking thing tomorrow night in Hershey because now I do love them. I love to like schmooze and talk to people and have fun and I love it. I'm one of those people who I love a good networking event. But it's so important to do because the connections you make with people, no matter how small, are so integral in building your brand and who you are and what you're doing and where you're going. Um, it's so important. Like, yeah, I'm 10 years in, and sometimes my husband will be like, "Do you really have to go to that networking thing?" I'm like, "Yes, because there's new people. I'm gonna meet new people, you know, I still haven't gotten the chance to talk to yet or meet yet. And I'm excited to because maybe I could help them and maybe I can, work with them. So making the connections with people is so, so important. And I think that's a big step that is hard for people. I mean, I tell people all the time because some people are like, "Oh, I don't like the way I look in photos," or "Oh, I don't know if I have photos." Well, photos.
Been
And I say,
there.
"You know what? I'm going to tell you a secret. I don't like to take pictures of myself. So when I have to do new headshots or when I take new ones or my husband takes them or my friend takes them or who's a photographer, I have a session with her. I'm doing a birthday session, headshot session soon. Um, you know, it's not my favorite thing either. And my husband's like, "Well, you can do it." He's like, "You do this every day." I'm like, "For other people, not for me. It's different for me, right?" So, but making the connections with people and just putting yourself out there is so important. And it's going to help you and it's going to make all the difference in just having your community and your support with you.
I I absolutely love that. I couldn't have said it better myself. Because connection, I mean, it is important. Networking will change your life.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, truthfully, it
Yeah.
will. Business or no business, networking will change your life.
Yeah.
So to bring it full circle, for a mama who, she has a passion, but she feels like, I don't know if I could do it. I'm not anybody special. What would you say to her?
I would say that you just need to take baby steps and do a little bit each day and put something together. Just every day is a step forward, and everything you do is important to help your business grow because there might be, there might be a day where I make like two graphics on Canva to, you know, for an upcoming like sale or something or whatever. I make two things on Canva. That might be the only two things I get done that day for my business. But guess what? I did them, right? And it might have been a really busy day. And then the next week I might get 3 months done. I don't know. But it's just a thing of the baby steps because it is a huge mountain in the beginning, especially in the beginning. But it's a daunting process and there's a lot of information. But little by little, taking baby steps and just like learning more each day will really help to kind of get the ball rolling. And then soon enough, you'll find, communities on Facebook or online or networking groups in your community. Um, like like just in our community, there's Berks Women in Motion. I'm a part of that. There's Women to Women. There's your group. There's there's specific groups, like there's a group for photographers, there's a group, so there's all these different communities that are out there. And so it's baby steps. And like I said just before, like putting yourself out there. It is so important. And you need to take that time for yourself too, right? Because I enjoy it because I get to talk to people and spend time with people. And it's just a joy to be able to um, share a little bit about what I do with other people. And I hope that they see what I'm all about in my work and through my work. And I just hope that it brings them joy.
Well, you are incredible.
Well,
And
thanks.
I
You are too.
appreciate you
I
so much
appreciate
for
you
being
bringing
here.
me on.
Asking that question and starting to hear your answer was making me a little emotional, which for anybody who knows me in real life, I cry. I'm a crier. I get very emotional. But I think it's because I just one of the things about you and the way you speak and your heart and where you come from that resonates with me so much is one, there's some similarities, like as far as like us overcoming imposter syndrome,
Yeah.
but just like having a heart and you can tell that you really love people. And, hearing that answer, it's, you know, we really love mamas and we
Hmm.
we want to see them enjoy their life.
Yeah.
That's why this was created, and it makes me emotional on kind of a good side and a bad side. On the bad side being so many women just don't know what they're capable of,
Yeah.
and that hurts my heart. And I've been there and you've been there, but on the good side that hopefully we're inspiring them to take action
Yeah.
and to move towards
And
what
hey,
they
if
want.
if they can join us, hopefully, if you're out there and you need a couple hours to yourself, I'll come babysit your kids. I'll come help you out. You know, I'm free during the
We've
day.
got a village. We've got
I
a
can
village.
come
We'll
help
make it
out.
happen.
Yeah. It's like I can help. I can
Yeah.
do coaching. I can help. I can tell you what worked and what didn't. You know, we're here.
Well, I appreciate you so much. And for all the mamas that are listening, if you would like to connect with Lindsay or take a look at her incredible work, I
Thank
will
you.
have all of her links in the description. And if you're enjoying these conversations, please like and subscribe so that we can continue having them. Thanks
Yeah.
so much for being here. Thank you, Lindsay.
Thank you so much.